9 News Plus weather, sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Hey, happy Monday. Thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus. Nice to see the sun again, isn't it? I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi, and again, kind of a pleasure to look outside, see that sun, see temperatures that'll get back into the low 50s today. Going to be our warmest day so far this calendar year. Of course, it is January the 9th, which doesn't mean a ton, but hey, let's be a little bit optimistic here. It is Monday morning after all. Another thing that's kind of nice to point out as well, starting today, our sunsets get earlier and earlier, which might feel a little counterintuitive because sunsets have already been getting earlier for a month or so. The winter solstice was at the end of last month, but because of the Earth's elliptical orbit and the fact that the clock and the sun don't exactly align, it does take an extra week or so after the winter solstice for those sunrises to get earlier. So just something else to put optimistically on your calendar as well. All right, let's get past some of the nerdy stuff and take a look here outside. And here's a look at the Eisenhower Tunnel, where things running smooth there on I-70 and Loveland ski area. Lots of fresh snow up into the high country, and some skiers, I'm sure, enjoying plenty of that. I heard there were some long lines up into the mountains. Now, here in Denver, we've still got all that snow on the ground. I'll have more on that here in the next couple of minutes about just how much snow and how unusual it is to have as much snow on the ground as we've had for so long at this point, but lots of sunshine overhead with those beautiful snow-capped mountains off in the distance as well. So mild and pleasant for us today. That will help melt off some of that pesky snow that's been on the ground for close to 2 weeks now. It's warmer. It is also windier for our day tomorrow. That will also eat away a good chunk of that snowfall as well. And then we got a chance for some snow for us here on Wednesday along the Front Range in the mountains. I haven't mentioned this either. The mountains will get some snow starting tonight, but the heaviest of the snow will be tomorrow night and Wednesday for our friends into the high country. HD Doppler radar is actually picking up on a little bit of snow. Looks like a little bit of a radar malfunction there out of the Grand Junction radar, but this is going to be mostly light to maybe moderate snow for us tonight and tomorrow. This is orographic snow. This is just because the upper levels of the atmosphere are just picking up some moisture and kind of depositing it into the mountains. So for us tonight, again, after dark, that's when I think we see the heaviest and steadiest of the snowfall for us into the high country. That could mean that travel is tricky from Vail Pass on west. Rabbit Ears Pass also looking at the potential for some snow as well. And then by tomorrow, it's mostly light to moderate snowfall that'll be in place over the mountains, and that will continue throughout much of the day. Temperatures, the other big story. Look at this for us here in Denver. 40 degrees already. Gunnison, though, in the valleys, 2 degrees for you right now in some of those typically colder valleys, but already near 60 in southeast Colorado. Quite the spread. 2 degrees in Gunnison, all the way to near 60 in Pueblo and Springfield right now. So for today, Denver will hit 50 degrees for the first time this calendar year. Again, it is January the 9th, so take that with a grain of salt, but still, first time in over a week. It's been 50 plus and mostly sunny skies for us this morning. We will see some afternoon clouds. It is fairly mild for us. And look at that sunrise. Yesterday was at 7:21, today 7:20. Hey, it is a start. So forecast highs for us today. Our average high for today, by the way, is 45. So we're going to be running about 10 degrees above our seasonal average for us here in Denver. We'll be in the low 60s in southeastern Colorado and the mountains. 30s for the most part. A few valley locations could be a little colder than that. Tonight we dropped down to the upper 20s. It was a mild morning, by the way. We had some downsloping winds that kept our lows this morning in the 30s and 40s across most of the metro area. Tonight we got a little colder than that, partly cloudy skies, 27 degrees for us. Winds start to tick up a little bit. Notice those winds getting up to about 10 to 25 miles an hour depending on where you are in the metro area. And that'll be part of a breezy day ahead for us here along the Front Range. Tomorrow, 55 degrees, mostly sunny skies in town. We'll see some afternoon clouds once again, but I think the big takeaway for tomorrow will be those winds. Highs for us tomorrow near 70 in the southeastern corner of the state, and in the mountains mostly in the 30s and 40s. But as I mentioned, I think the winds will noticeably tick up for us tomorrow. Denver proper, probably about 20, 25, maybe 30 mile an hour winds for us here along and east of I-25. Into the foothills west of town, 40 to 50 mile an hour winds look likely. Now, of course, with all that snow on the ground, fire danger is low, if not basically nil. Again, as long as we got that snowpack, that is our great protector from any sort of fire danger. And all that recent moisture we've had, good news for that as well. then those winds will continue for us as we get through your Tuesday night into your Wednesday. So it's going to be pretty noticeably breezy for us tomorrow, and then for Wednesday, those winds will stick around as well. And that will bring with it some snow. So we've talked about the snow for us into the mountains for tonight and tomorrow morning. Watch what happens as we head through the day tomorrow, though. We'll see a secondary surge and a stronger surge of snow move its way into the picture. This one looks to give us into the mountains a pretty widespread 3 to 6, 4 to 8 inches worth of snowfall, in some cases more than that. But then for us here in the Denver area, it looks like as the system departs, on the back end of this, we do get a little surge of snow, a little burst of snow on Wednesday afternoon. Now, the snowfall totals not going to be impressive. I'll show you those here, the snowfall totals. Again, not overly impressive. I think for Denver, that 2.5 inch total looks high to me. I think we're talking about an inch, maybe 2 inches worth of snowfall for most of northeast Colorado. But the thing that will come from this, it's going to come in a burst. So you'll get maybe an inch or so of that snow in basically 1 hour. So that could mean that travel is tricky on Wednesday afternoon. So just worth keeping in mind that, yes, we're not looking at a ton of snowfall, but enough that it could disrupt that evening commute on your Wednesday, maybe even in the morning as well. We'll fine-tune this as we get a little closer, but it does look like we'll at least see some accumulating snow in the Denver area on Wednesday. Mountains, though, widespread. This is total between the snow that we get tonight and that secondary and stronger storm tomorrow night. And it's going to be a widespread 6 to 12 inches worth of snow for us into the high country, probably a bit more favored into the parks, the flat tops, and northern mountains here. So the Medicine Bow Range as well should do pretty well out of this upcoming series of storm systems. 7-day forecast, we got that snow on Wednesday. Otherwise, temperatures mostly in the 50s for the next few days. So again, average high for this time of year, mid-40s. So when we're talking about these 50s, it's close to 10 degrees above the norm for the early to mid part of the month of January. But that will help melt off some of that snowfall. Look at this, 12 straight days with at least 4 inches of snow on the ground for us here in Denver. That is our longest such streak since early to mid-February of 2012. So it's been almost 11 years since we've had this much snow on the ground for this long. It is an unusual happenstance. It's due to a combination of really kind of three main things. One, it's been cloudy and fairly chilly for much of the last 10 days since we had that big snow event in late December. Number two, our sun angle this time of year is very low. We tend to get our big snowstorms in February, March, and April here along the Front Range. We typically do not get them in December. And when we get them in December and early January, again, sun angles at its lowest point of the year, so the sun isn't as strong. It's not helping melt that off. And then the third part is that we had a lot of water content and volume in that recent snowstorm that we had in late December, an unusually high amount of water within it. That means there's more to melt, so to speak, and that is, again, all that combining to keep things fairly, keep the snowpack fairly entrenched here in the Denver area. But we will, again, I think especially tomorrow with that wind and those warmer temperatures, we should melt off a fair bit of that snowpack for us tomorrow. And I know, trust me, my side street is a skating rink, and I'm sure a lot of yours are as well. Colorado snowpack right now, about 122% of its season-to-date average. This is great news. We've had a great start to the winter season here. We could use it in southern Colorado. There's little doubt about that, the Rio Grande. And it's really the Sangre de Cristos that are a little snow-starved right now. But otherwise, aside from the Sangre de Cristos and the wet mountains of southern Colorado, we are looking phenomenal in terms of snowpack. Great start to the snow season. So Mother Nature, if you're watching, keep up the good work. You're doing awesome. But again, we really have had a good start to the snow season. We'll add a bit more to that. We'll kind of keep those snow levels about where they are, maybe take them up a little bit with this next series of storm systems. They move their way on through, and then we should calm on down for the rest of the week and into the upcoming weekend. So overall, pretty nice weather. Watch out for Wednesday. Just keep in mind, again, Wednesday, snowfall totals will not be that impressive. I think we're looking at maybe 2 inches, probably closer to 1 for most areas, but again, it comes in a burst of snow on Wednesday, it looks like at this point, Wednesday afternoon. We'll keep you posted on the latest on it and get you more details as we get a bit closer. Meteorologist Keely Chalmers will have an update for you at 9 News at noon, and then Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin's in at 4 and 5, and then Meteorologist Lauren Robinson's in at 6, 9, 10 tonight on the 9 News Family Networks. Once again, I'm Meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus, and have a great rest of your Monday.